So there are films, and then there's cinema, and then there are directors, and then there are masters of cinema. And what we all just saw checked off on both of those boxes. It's unbelievable. If there is a better film this decade, I will eat my shoes. You have my word. We've never done an audience award at Beyond. We've never done an award at Beyond Fest. We're that ill prepared. But I think if we're ever going to do an audience award, we should probably do it now. So who thinks this is the audience award best film of the festival? I want to bring up to the stage Ms. Jen Yamato. She's gonna moderate.
Thank you.
And we've got some props. We've got some friends. One more ask of everyone in the audience. We all still have our glasses, because we'll need our glasses. Because we're going to recreate this, but we're going to recreate it with our friends and then a very special filmmaker. He's made incredible movies, a number of masterpieces. This is obviously his latest. It gives me the greatest pleasure of ever being on this stage to introduce the man himself, Mr. Bong Joon-ho. And then if we can all, can we get our glasses on everyone? Nicole, can we do?
How about another round of applause for Director Bong? All the way from Austin, Texas, which is where you flew in from today.
정신이 없네요. 아침까지 텍사스에 있었는데.
It's very crazy. I was in Texas this morning. Now you can get crazy here at Beyond Fest. Well, we have to first take a minute to, just acknowledge that what Christian just said, basically every movie you've made is a masterpiece. Your first movie, Barking Dogs Never Bite, Memories of Murder, The Host, Mother, Snowpiercer, Okja, and now Parasite, which won a historic Palme d'Or at Cannes. How does it feel to come to this moment in your life and your career with these stories under your belt?
요즘 그냥 정신없이 하루하루 기차 뒤에 줄로 묶여서 끌려다니는 느낌이에요. 정신없이 막 다니고 있어요.
So it's been pretty hectic every day. I feel like I've been tied up to a rope and being dragged around on a train.
근데 즐거워요. 네, 즐거운 일인 거. 재밌어요. 이렇게 기생충 이거 여러 나라에서 왔는데 여러 나라의 반응들, 미국 이전에 독일, 호주, 프랑스 반응이 다 되게 비슷해요. 왜 그럴까 생각을 좀 해보는 중인데.
But it's been a really enjoyable and fun experience. I've had the opportunity to screen this film in other countries before this, like in Germany, Sydney, and France, and I've noticed that the audience has shown pretty similar reactions, and I've been really wondering why. How would you describe that? It does feel strangely universal for feeling at the same time very specific to Korean society, to the Korean culture, but was that by design? Did you write this hoping that an international audience would be able to relate to it?
Actually, I didn't know. Just the movie is very. This movie is full of very Korean details and Korean nuances, things. But I don't know. Maybe 지구 전체가 다 그냥 나라가 하나인 것 같아요. 아까도 얘기했지만 자본주의라는 국가 하나인 것 같아요. 그래서 한국이고 미국이고 어디고 다 똑같은 것 같아요.
I think anywhere in the world, we're currently living in just one big nation of capitalism. And I think that's why the response has been pretty similar across all
Director Bong, you said that the idea for Parasite, the story, first started germinating in your brain about 5 years ago when you were finishing Snowpiercer, which has some overlapping themes. Do you feel like this came out of an outgrowth of telling that story somehow?
설국열차 이제 후반 작업, 포스트 프로덕션 할 때였죠. 그러니까 설국열차도 사실 뭐 가난한 자, 부자가 이렇게 나오잖아요. 뭐 2층과 지상과 지하가 아니라 이제 기차 한 뒷칸으로 나눠져 있었죠. 네.
So I first came up with this idea during the post-production of Snowpiercer, and Snowpiercer also features the rich and poor, but instead of being overground and underground, it's the tail cars and the front cars.
Maybe at the time, I spent very hard time making those 24 different train sections. Struggling with the limited budget, so many different cars. So, 그래서 아마 스트레스를 받았나 봐요. 그래서 이 부자와 가난한 자 얘기지만 집 2개에서 다 찍는 영화를 만들어야지. 집 2개면 다 끝나는 거야. 24개가 아니야. 이렇게 생각했던 것 같아요.
Because I was so stressed with creating those 24 cars of that train, I was very stressed. So I wanted to shoot the story of the rich and poor in just 2 houses and have that be it.
So much easier, right? Upstairs, downstairs, downstairs. But how does a story take hold with you? When you come to a point when an idea that you have in your mind is the story that you have to tell next, that you have to write next, how does that actually unfold? Do you write the characters first? Do you have the structure in mind first?
처음에 이렇게 침투한다는 개념만 있었어요. 그래서 제목도 기생충이었는데 침투한다. 저도 대학교 때 여기 주인공처럼 과외를 많이 했었어요. 과외 아르바이트를 많이 했었는데 실제로 되게 부잣집에서 과외를 해본 적이 있었어요. 거기에 이렇게 뭔가 이렇게 어쩔 수 없이 이렇게 남의 사생활을 엿보게 되는 듯한 그런 느낌이 있거든요. 그래서 내가 이렇게 어떤 다른 사람의 집으로 침투해 들어가는 느낌 같은 게 되게 묘했었는데 그런 걸 가지고 되게 좀 재밌게 해보고 싶었던 기억이 나고요.
So for Parasite, I first came up with this idea of infiltration, and that's why the title ended up being Parasite. But when I was in college, I often tutored as a part-time job, and I actually tutored for a very rich family. And I got the sense that inevitably I ended up peeping into the private lives of complete strangers. And I remember getting this very eerie feeling that I was infiltrating their home. And so I always wanted to tell a fun story about that.
그 과외하러 갔을 때 그 중학교 남자애를 가르친 적이 있는데 2달 만에 잘렸지만 그 애가 이제 저를 2층으로 데려가더니 집에 사우나가 있다고 개인 프라이빗 사우나가 있다고 보여주는 거예요. 되게 인상 그런 기억. 사우나라는 공간 되게 사적인 공간인데 그런 걸 봤던 기억들.
So at the time I taught a middle school boy, and I ended up getting fired just 2 months later. But the boy took me to the second floor and showed me their private sauna in the home, and I very vividly remember just getting a chance to look into such a private space.
And he was very proud of it. but I was very shocked. It's a sauna in the house. Such a rich family. So, yeah. 이런 것들이 뭐 이런 기억들부터 해서 여러 가지 그래서 그 과외 선생뿐 아니라 뭐 그 부잣집에 들어가서 할 수 있는 직업들이 많이 있잖아요. 운전기사 또 뭐 하우스메이드 뭐 가정부 이런 식으로 해서 그걸 하나의 가족 단위로 해서 다 들어가 보자. 나만 들어가는 게 아니라 그런 생각을 하게 된 거죠.
So from these memories, I thought of all the different jobs that would require you go into the rich house, like being the driver, the housekeeper, and so I wanted to tell a story of just an entire family going into this house as one singular unit.
But everyone already watched the movie, so I can say very freely that there is a third family. This is not a story of two families. In the marketing process, we always this rich and poor, but actually in the movie there is a third family, the couple in the basement. 그 마지막 지하실에 관한 모든 것들은 이제 몇 년간 전혀 그 생각이 없었고 실제 이제 스크립트를 시나리오 쓰는 마지막 3개월에 다 한꺼번에 나왔어요.
So for the several years that I was developing this story, I actually did not think of that last couple in the basement. It all came to me during the last 3 months of the actual script writing process.
I wonder, you're not still in touch with the family who you tutored, are you?
두 달 일하고 잘렸기 때문에 그 후의 소식은 몇십 년째 잘 모르죠.
So since I was fired only after 2 months, I have no idea what they've been up to.
그 중학생 애가 지금 어른이 됐겠지 나이가. 근데 뭐 봤을라나 영화를 모르겠어요.
So that middle school boy must be an adult now, and I don't know if he's watched the film.
Put that out there. If he's out there, we want to know what he thinks. Well, by now, I mean, you opened back home in Korea, and this is a huge, huge, huge hit. Something like 2.75 million admissions on your opening weekend. Incredible. And now Oscars are in your sights right now. You know, it's like you're on the road to the Oscars, right? But I believe it was in Cannes when you won the Palme d'Or. You took the award and you kneeled and you presented it to your actor, Song. Why was that?
뭐랄까 제가 그분한테 바치는 어떤 나무주연상 같은 거였죠. 최고의 배우다.
So it was my own version of the Best Actor award that I wanted to present to him.
진심이었어.
I truly meant it.
I also wonder what you thought of, I don't know if you guys have seen out there these shirts that were made after Cannes that say Bong d'Or. Bong d'Or. What was your first reaction when you saw those?
My last name Bong is quite very rare in South Korea. When I was 초등학교 때부터 그 성 때문에 놀림을 많이 당했어요.
I got teased a lot ever since elementary school because of my last name.
봉을 섞은 뭐 이상한 별명도 많았고 곧 좀 힘든 시기를 보냈죠. 성 때문에.
I had various strange nicknames using the last name Bong, and so I suffered throughout my childhood.
And it never ends. Actually, I didn't know that the Bong has some specific meaning. Originally, I didn't know, but Tom Kim, my friend, when he distributed the host many years ago, he told me, your last name is something, and then he actually 저한테 선물을 줬어요, 그 봉을. 봉에게 봉을 준 거지.
So he gave me a bong, and he gave Bong a bong.
그래서 한국으로 돌아갈 때 공항에서 되게 좀 괜찮을까, 되게 좀 걱정은 됐었는데 어쨌든 되게 고마운 선물이었죠.
So I was quite worried when I took it back to Korea at the airport, but it was a great gift nonetheless.
And now you've earned a gold one.
네.
I want to ask you about working with